Continuing our focus on the ceasefire agreement, as you may have read and heard that report, and perhaps read previous commentary or reports or articles about that particular agreement. Well, to discuss that with us, we're joined this morning by Mr. C.G. Gbadebo-Smith, who is of the Professionals for Change. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
Well, so many perspectives on this matter, to the extent that, I mean, even yesterday there were comments from, I think, Borno elders about this ceasefire. But from your perspective, you've heard comments made by those up there negotiating this deal, even federal government's recent perspective that they will continue negotiations on this matter. What do you think of this?
Let me first say that it's very important for the Nigerian public to appreciate the delicate nature of negotiating ceasefires, negotiating release of hostages. It's also very important for us not to speculate negatively about the outcomes. Yes, we need to be skeptical because it is a notorious fact that when you're dealing with asymmetrical warfare, you can never confirm categorically a ceasefire. What you do is anticipate that all parties involved would honor the agreement. However, it is in the interest of Nigerian psyche to believe that our military has the leadership qualities and the information on hand to pursue this matter to a conclusion that we would appreciate. Having said all of this, let us do one thing. Give the military the opportunity to prosecute the program as they see best. Therefore, I would encourage everybody reporting on the matter to cease from escalating concerns. Give people a chance to wait for results. That would be my...
No, but what do you say to those who say, well, yeah, they seem to be torn between being out and out skeptical and being cautiously optimistic, because all waiting with bated breath to see, okay, how does this play out? Where does the pendulum swing? Everybody wants good news, but when you then keep waiting and you don't get the kind of response you want, what happens?
Chamberlain, that's a very interesting concern. The truth is, there's a historical background to ceasefire agreements with insurgents, terrorists, and it is not positive. Let's take the case of the Lord's Resistance Army in Uganda. A very comprehensive ceasefire was negotiated. In fact, meetings were held, but the Lord's Resistance Army merely used the time to recoup and become even more violent in their reactions. And I believe it is for this reason that we are cautiously optimistic. We cannot go forward with the concept that it's going to work out perfectly. We're dealing with an asymmetrical opponent. We're not even sure how many fractions they are. Therefore, we would do our best to give our people hope, because hope is fundamental, and to believe that we are going to win regardless of how long it takes. In that strong concept of hope, our people can be assured that everything possible is going to be done, including negotiating for a peaceful outcome. Or the best we hope for is that we would get our girls back.
Well, again, how do you achieve all of that? Because when you say Nigerians should cease from making comments that could jeopardize this whole process, but they should be hopeful, knowing full well where we're coming from. Loads and loads of pains in the hearts and minds of people. People have lost properties, lives, and families. What kind of words should we be saying from someone like yourself to Nigerians that would amount to being hopeful?
There are several opportunities to drive home hope. And sometimes it is the desire of the people themselves to overcome an obstacle that is clearly traumatic. over 3,300 souls have been lost since the beginning of the year. One soul is too many. Therefore, the message to our people is, we are not a people to give up because we're a people to overcome. We're not a people to doubt because we're a people to trust in God. With these sentiments, our people have overcome much and continue to overcome even greater obstacles. The confidence is in the psyche of the Nigerian to overcome even insurmountable obstacles. Therefore, I am confident that our people will overcome. And this is the message that we should always resonate with our people. We shall overcome.
And again, I think yesterday, from yesterday's program, we tried to hinge it on what you just touched on, and that is if they have a splinter group. Because if we're talking about a ceasefire, it would seem that definitely the government is on top of its game. So if we're getting to hear killings here and there, maybe pockets of them, it means perhaps we have another arm or an aggrieved or disgruntled arm of that particular Boko Haram group. For the average Nigerian to believe that truly we are on course, it doesn't seem that, well, there's a ceasefire and there's no ceasefire. What kind of message should the nation be telling us that would be a pointer to the fact that truly we are in discussion with the real Boko Haram?
Once again, my sentiments are always to not speculate on ongoing conflicts. The appreciation of an asymmetrical conflict makes it incumbent on us to appreciate also that there'll be fractions within that opponent.
So there's a possibility that it can happen?
Yes, primarily because the nature of asymmetrical warfare is you don't have one identified foe. That is the purpose of the enemy, to ensure that you cannot perfectly target one of their groups. And in order to continue to destabilize your efforts, they would consistently project several fronts. We are observing certain continuing aggravated violence because the system that an asymmetrical warfare opponent uses is to continue to have several fronts. We should congratulate our military in their concerted effort and the results that they have so far obtained. Having negotiations and promoting ceasefire is the responsible thing to do. As a nation, we do not want to continue to lose lives, and ceasefires help us reduce casualties. Therefore, regardless of skirmishes and other activities, we would continue to promote the concept that we are looking for and obtaining ceasefires with an asymmetrical opponent. You cannot identify a single opponent, and as such, it is difficult to be categorical in your comprehensive ceasefire.